Ever try a hobby for the hell of it and you find out you like it? Check out Getting Into Writing.
Welcome to Action Hound Media, the site and channel all about action. Life's boring, get some more action into your life. This week we are going to talk about getting into writing. All right, some of you people may not have gotten into writing or haven't even thought about doing such a thing, but I was in the same boat and here I am writing novels. In college, when I took my first English class, one of the first things the professor said to me was that anyone could become a writer. I always thought that only certain people were writers. Maybe they were born with the skill to write, and I didn't think I could be one of those people. But I took that line to heart, and that anyone could become a writer, including me. During the semester, I wrote short stories and other assignments, but in the back of my head, I wanted to write a book. I wanted to be a writer. At the time, I was big into science fiction, so I wanted to write something great, like a great science fiction. I was keen on Blade Runner, since it was stylish and really immersed me in the world when I watched Blade Runner. That movie was such a big influence because I specifically wanted to write a bounty hunter story because of it. Just that I needed a new take on the bounty hunter story and not mimic Blade Runner. While I was doing an internship in physical therapy in the summer of 1989, I took a go at writing a novel in my free time. I wrote about 60 to 70 pages in longhand, but after reading it over, I thought it was just utter crap. I had to do a rewrite, I didn't have any formal training in writing novels, so I started studying books on the subject of fiction writing. One book that really set me on the right track was a book called How to Structure a Novel. I forget who the author was, but it was a great book since it broke down what elements should be in a novel and how each chapter should be structured. I wrote an outline of about 30 scenes and then wrote furiously over the year while using the book as a guide on how to write a novel. I completed my first novel entitled On a Kill. It was basically a Blade Runner knockoff where a bounty hunter agent in a futuristic society has become sick of his job and turned to alcoholism and suicidal tendencies. Honestly, it wasn't quite original, but I did develop a knack for writing action scenes. Then I wrote Billy Blood, a horror novel about a high-strung, obnoxious vampire who returns to New York to kill his parents. Shortly after that, I wrote a psychological sci-fi called Mad World about a guinea pig used for covert government experiments and discovers the cause of madness. So while writing these novels, of course, I was seeking a traditional publishing deal, but that never happened. I think you really need to know someone in the business or get very lucky. No doubt I was also working on my craft and attending conferences and seminars. Then I wrote another sci-fi, an alien invasion story about an autistic kid that saves the world in a very plausible manner. No magic or unrealistic BS. That one was entitled Under the Amber Sky. I originally called it Tasty Morsels, but people kept telling me Tasty Morsels sounded too silly, so I changed it to Under the Amber Sky. Without any luck getting book deals, I decided to go to Manhattanville College to get an MFA in creative writing. Manhattanville MFA was a great program. The very first class, they let us drink during class. Nope, I'm not kidding. This is a true story. It was strange to me that we were in school and we were allowed to have a glass of wine. I learned a lot too, especially from my favorite teacher, Jeff Benz. Kudos. Jeff, you're the best. For my thesis, I wrote Finding Sanctuary, a martial arts Heart of Darkness where an Eskrima expert travels down the Amazon to find Sanctuary, the hideout of a wanted cyber criminal. For all my efforts after writing 5 novels, I have yet to achieve a book deal. I've met half a dozen agents who were interested in my stuff, but after a few emails, they stopped communicating with you. I doubt that any of them even bothered reading my stuff. So here I am, after over 30 years of trying, and I'm still at it. I don't give up, especially since I love to write and really believe in my work. Then I learned about Amazon's KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. I spent the past year studying it, learning the algorithm, reading marketing books, putting together my content. But before you put a book out on Amazon, they say you need to establish a social media platform. Talk about falling into a rabbit hole, but here I am falling deeper and deeper. So I started a YouTube channel and website called, Action Hound Media, which of course you are all watching right now. Please let it be known that I'm not into putting myself out there and to become more and more popular. That's really not my thing, but I have to do it to achieve my end goal of marketing my intellectual properties on KDP. So yeah, making these videos is really not my thing, but I'm doing it to entertain everybody. But the idea was to have this platform to help market books that I'll be putting on KDP or already out there. So I went from writing novels to making YouTube videos. I chose Action Hound Media because I originally wanted to call it Weapon Hound, but that was too limited. I could only do weapons. So since I was adept at writing about action, I decided on Action Hound. And since I do many action-oriented activities such as martial arts, biking, hunting, Sasquatch research, I decided to make it a channel and site all about action. One part of the Amazon algorithm was to have a lot of content or books to sell on Amazon. The more books you have to sell, the greater the chances of selling more books. I only had 5 novels. Sure, I could chop them up and sell them in pieces, but I felt that would cheat my audiences. So I decided to make a comic book / novel, a comics spelled COMMIX, which is a hybrid of the two that I basically made up. So the idea of the comics is that you read a novel chapter and picture in your mind what the scenes, action, settings, and characters would look like in your mind. Then compare what you had in your mind with the actual comic book pages. Believe me, this is a very intriguing exercise, falling deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. Anyway, when I was in 6th grade, the teacher asked the class, what would be a dream of yours that you would want to come true? I said that I wanted to make a comic book. So here I am, fulfilling my childhood dream. At Manhattanville College, I did take classes on how to write comic books as well as screenplays. So I had an idea how to do it. I also felt that I needed to write the screenplay first so that I could properly write the comic book script. That's right, I wrote the novel version, then I wrote the screenplay version so that I could write the comic book version. Deeper and deeper I fall into the rabbit holes. Yeah, this was a tremendous project with much time and effort to complete. Also, while I was in Manhattanville, I did complete a rewrite on Honor Kill after it was destroyed by my professor. I'm glad he did because I transformed Honor Kill with a ho-hum trope into morbid justice. Basically Blade Runner with multiple personality disorder. Yeah, it was tough to rip apart your magnum opus, but necessary to overhaul the story into something with incredibly more substance. And you'll be seeing more of Morbid Justice. Back to writing the comic book. After stumbling in my search to get an artist, and believe me, finding an artist is very difficult, I checked the Kubert School website and queried some of the artists there. This is where I found Pete Clinton, an artist from the UK. Pete is an amazing artist, but not only is he highly skilled, but he is reliable, timely, and very understanding of my vision for the book. He helped design all the concepts for the characters, weapons, settings, vehicles, etc. Definitely getting a great artist is the key to making a great book, so I checked off that box. But then I had to get a great colorist and a great letterer. I got that too with Daniel Caramonico as the color guy and Saida Temfonte as the letterer. Thanks guys, you guys did a great job and keep doing a great job. Once the comic book is completed, then I have to add the novel portions and format it for the comics for Amazon. So this is a lot of work and a lot of money and a lot of time. So writing has been a passion for me for a greater part of my life. Some say just writing a novel, and for me 5 novels is an accomplishment in itself. But when people ask me about this hobby of writing, some usually end with, are you published? So getting published apparently is the watermark for success in writing. Sure, I've had a short story published, Bad Luck x3, but not a book. That's what makes writing different from other hobbies. If you told somebody I play baseball as a hobby, nobody asks you, did you play for Major League Baseball? The watermark for success in writing seems to be achieving public notoriety by getting published. But I do this not for the notoriety. I really do it so people can enjoy a good story. So much of today's content in novels and movies are, I want to get my stories out there for people to get a dose of something different, clever, imaginative. If I wasn't into it, I would have quit a long time ago, like 30 years ago. Okay, so take Morbid Justice for instance. I've read and rewrote the original version of Honor Kill about 20 times. After turning it into Morbid Justice, I read and rewrote that about 6 to 8 times. Could you imagine reading and rewriting a story over 25 times? Not only that, but writing the screenplay and the comic book script on top of that with all the edits. Could you imagine all that work? I didn't even mention all the other work for the 4 other novels I had written. Yes, writing is a labor of love with a difficult path to attain the watermark of publication. Should you get into it? I say yes, if you have the imagination, the fortitude, the relentless pursuit of improving your writing chops, and the guts to withstand criticism. Maybe you're a natural and you won't have to go through decades of effort to achieve publication like I did. Maybe you'll have to work for it as I have. It's like learning a musical instrument. Some can pick it up quick, but most have to work at it. Just remember, attaining that watermark of notoriety and publication is way more possible now with Amazon's KDP. So go for it, like I have. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. What else are you gonna do? Not write and wish you did? Be an action hound and try something new. You never know. Action hounds unite.